Good morning or good afternoon. I'm Yvonne from Colorado. It is Tuesday, December the 5th. I want to welcome you all to the Winner Within Coaching Call brought to you by the Unit of Prosperity. We host these personal development calls Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern for the benefit of entrepreneurs and marketers everywhere. So you can feel free to invite your teams, no matter which company you represent, for some daily motivation and inspiration. But just in case this is your first time dialing into a Tuesday call, let me introduce our coach to you. He is a visionary, strategist, and entrepreneur. He is an energetic, highly impactful speaker and a fierce motivator. Utilizing his passion, he likes to take an aggressive approach to personal development by challenging what people see as the norm. His story is a remarkable one. From a very young age, he has had an entrepreneurial spirit, but he lacked the guidance of positive role models to hone his abilities. Even though he faced many pitfalls and major challenges along the way, with faith, will, determination, and perseverance, he was able to reach his goal of becoming a successful entrepreneur. He has an affinity for community outreach and volunteerism. He has served in many leadership capacities over the years and is currently a member of the board of directors for both the United Negro College Fund and Sister Cities in Jacksonville, Florida. His vision is to motivate and teach others the power of effectively utilizing knowledge, resources, and network ability to obtain definitive goals and reach their greatness. So please grab something to write with and take some notes because he's going to share with us his topic for the day, becoming a person of influence. It is my pleasure to introduce and bring to the call Dr. Adrian Gentry. Dr. Gentry, are you ready?
I am so ready, and thank you once again. You are amazing. I'm telling you, you should have been an announcer. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. Take it away.
No problem. Hey, guys, I just want to get on the call. First thing I love to do is say I appreciate you so much for allowing me to speak in your life for just a brief moment. I always say three things before I get started speaking, and that's one, I'm a Christian through and through, so every time I speak, you're going to get this God in me. Two, I'm a very passionate person, so at some point in this call, my voice may begin to heighten. Don't be afraid. It's just me, the passion point outside of me. And three, I'm a meat and potatoes type of guy. So I give you what I got, and then I get off the phone. The topic today, becoming a person of influence. I get inspired a lot by life. I get inspired a lot by situations and things that I go through. And I'm an introvert by nature, so I sit in the house, I don't watch TV, and my mind is constantly playing and replaying situations and scenarios in my mind. And over the last week, I have had so many experiences that I really had to look back and recap and analyze what was really going on and why certain things worked the way that they did. And the first one started last week. I received a phone call from a person in one of my businesses. And they were completely and utterly disgruntled at how someone else had treated them in the business, in our business. And they were frustrated. They were angry. They were mad. And the person that did this to them, they were a person that could attract people, but they were a person that would push people away. So the people would attract to them, when after they figured who they really were out, they would move away from them. And so that kind of just had me in a position. It's like, well, great relationships, of course, everyone should know, help you to build great businesses. Great relationships, great business helps you to build influence among other people, so other people come towards you instead of running away. So this weekend I had the amazing pleasure. I was supposed to be on the stage with Les Brown. However, he has cancer and was going through treatment, and he couldn't make it. But there were literally about 5, 6 other speakers that were on the stage that day. And I think about how I even got to that stage and had the chance to even be able to be placed on a flyer with the great Les Brown. And I looked back, and that relationship started literally 7 years ago. Literally 7 years ago, nearly today. And it was built over time. And in that relationship, it opened up an opportunity for me nearly 7 years later to be able to share with people my life and also educate them on financial freedom. And the feeling was amazing. It was one of the best feelings I've ever had in my life, just standing on that stage. And I've realized over the course of my life, people who build great relationships, people who really add value to other people's lives, are the people who have influence for the long haul. I look at Dr. Reginald Stinson, the leader and the founder of UOP. He's been marketing in this business for nearly since 2007, I believe he said he started. And he has email lists of thousands of people. He has people inboxing him, messaging him, asking him for advice. And it's because of how he's developed the relationships over the last 10 years as he's able to have that type of influence. And the more value that you add to people's lives, the more influential you become. The more influential you become, the more opportunities come your way. The more opportunities come your way, the more money you make. Because I know a lot of people got on this call to figure out how to make more money, so I have to say that. The more money you begin to make. And so my weekend capped off after I'm feeling so great. I'm feeling amazing. I got to share the stage. Wish it was Les Brown. He wasn't there, but everyone else that was on that panel just showed me the type of space and the type of people that I'm walking around right now. And the guy, one of my dear friends that brought me up there, I coined him a leader maker. And I coined that phrase to him because he's the guy who loves to assist. And he's constantly pouring into other people. And he's constantly finding the attributes that make them great and help them to build upon the attributes that make them weak. And so Sunday I went to church and a pastor sat down and he was preaching about influence. And it just made me almost overwhelmed because I realized exactly what space I was beginning to walk into. And it had nothing to do with what I did personally. It had to, right now in this period of time, it had to do with what I've done in the past that are allowing me to step into circles that I would have never been able to step in before and have influence over people that I would have never had influence over before and have opportunities that I would have never been able to have. I would have never been able to have before had I not been living by certain principles. So today I want to talk about becoming a person of influence. And the steps I want to give you today will not only help you in your own household become more influential, but also in your businesses, also in your community. Becoming a person of influence is not something anyone should take lightly because it gives you opportunities you'll never see without being a person of influence. It allows the right people to begin to walk into your life instead of walk out of your life. So I'm going to give you 4 points. I hope you have a pen and a piece of paper. Because most people have to deal with the internal first before they can deal with the external. And I say that all the time. And the reason I say you have to deal with the internal first before you can deal with the external is because you will push away people that you should have influence with. And many times it's hard for us to become people of influence because of hurt that we've had in our lives. So today we're going to work on those things. I want you to be able to identify some of the things that may be holding you back from becoming a person of influence. Because once you've been hurt before, and a lot of people on this call have been, once you've once people have gotten over on you, once people have been stingy, they've taken from you, we become kind of bitter. And then at that time, we begin to protect ourselves, right? We're protecting ourselves from everybody around us. We're trying to now control. We're going into a state of control. We're trying to control everything around us because we can't be hurt again. But you don't understand, when you get hurt, we begin to put up walls that lower our level of influence in our lives, and we were conditioned. I say it all the time. It's not about you. It's about other people. If you're putting up walls, that means you're not pouring into other people. And to be a person of influence, you have to be a person that pours into other people. And I need people to understand something. In life, people will disappoint you. People will make mistakes. People are selfish sometimes. People might even betray you. But if you allow that hurt in your life to continuously hold on to you moving forward, you'll begin to assume that people will betray you and they never had that intention, which lowers your level of influence. See, becoming a person of influence is constantly giving no matter what. It's believing in the best even after you've went through the worst. It's pouring everything inside of you into other people. And how you treat people, how you make other people feel around you, depends upon how influential you'll be. So, becoming a person of influence, how do you become a person of influence? These 4 steps right here. Listen. 1, focus on the positive. People are going to rub you the wrong way. I promise you. I know we all have those people in life that will frustrate the ham fat out of you. Every time you look at them, you're like, oh, my God, here they come again. Oh, my God, here go Nancy. Nancy always talking crazy. It's nothing good about her. Some of y'all have worked for those people. You're like, you know what? He just needs to go get locked up in a cave somewhere because it's nothing positive about him. And the reality is every one of us has positive attributes. And what you focus on, you see more of. And whether that be in a regular relationship, an intimate relationship, a friendship, or a person you're passing by, as long as you're focusing on the negative in people, you're going to treat them a certain type of way. You have to always focus on the positive. If you want to begin to heal even your marriages today, even your friendships today, you have to begin to focus on the positive. And the reason most people's relationships are destroyed is because they've only started fixating on the negativity in other people, so they can't see the positive, and that's why it falls apart. If you focus on the positive attributes of the people around you, uplift them when they're right, you'll gain influence. Because I don't care what no one says. No one wants to be the person who is constantly looked down upon and talked about. And we've all had those people in our lives that will constantly pick and probe at every part of us that may not be the best, because they're only looking for that to make themselves feel better. I need people to understand that. If there are people around you right now who are doing that to you, who are constantly downing your dreams, constantly talking about you, constantly telling you what you cannot do, they're negative influence. And guess what? You can't be that person if you want to be a person of influence. You have to focus on the positive attributes of other people. Just saying, look, that's, you know what, you got a nice ear. If you just got to start with their ear, look, you know what, he got some nice ears. He may be a jerk, but he got some nice, hey, Mike, you got some nice ears. You have to find something about them that's positive and begin to speak life into those people if you want to become a person of influence. Second, don't focus on where they're at right now. Focus on people's potential. See, leaders are built by looking at their further potential. Some people have heard my story, some people haven't. At 28 years old, I was nearly homeless. I tell people that all the time. I was homeless, and people took full advantage of that. People look at my current situation, the situation I was in at that present moment, and that's all they can see. So they say, you know what? He's not worthy. He doesn't know what he says he knows. He's not going anywhere. My whole life I was told I was never going to be anything. You have to understand that. But no one focused on my potential. And the people who did focus on my potential are the people right now. They can call me and ask me for anything. If you want to be a person of influence, if you want to be a person that lifts up leaders and have people loyal to you for years on end, you have to focus on their potential, not the problems. Because what I figured out in my life is most people with the most potential seem to have the most problems. And if you highlight those areas of their life where they have potential and speak life into them and help them where they're great at, eventually they'll begin to believe it and move forward. And that's how you create loyalty. That's how you become a person of influence. I talked about this story a while back. Business owner I know. He hired this guy to do some business development for him. The guy was working at a restaurant as a server. All he seen was a server working at a restaurant. So when he hired him, he treated him like crap. He dogged him out. He listened to anything that he said. Point blank, period. What he didn't focus on is the guy's potential. See, what he never focused on was the guy's ability to keep fighting even in the midst of war. Even when he's going down, even when he had no money, he would continue to fight and he was eager to learn. He never focused on the guy's potential. A year ago, the guy went out, made a couple $1 million, left him, and now he's stuck looking for someone else that's as great as he is. You have to focus on people's potential. Once you see their potential, you can see the positive in them. You just understand that you might have to polish that diamond a little bit to get them to the level that they want to go. After you've done that, they're loyal. But if you're still focused on the old hurts and the old pains and you're putting up walls and you're trying to control the situation, you will never be able to see their potential because you're always focused on someone that might betray you. The third thing, focus on their purpose. And I know a lot of people on this call, sometimes I think that may be my next call, how to find your purpose. I know a lot of people on this call may be struggling with their purpose, but let me help you out real quick. Everyone has a purpose. If I look in the Bible, it says, for we are God's masterpiece. He created us anew in Christ, Jesus, so we can become good things He planned for us long time ago. Everyone on this phone call has a purpose, and you have to understand that the people around you have a purpose as well. My favorite book says, hope deferred makes the heart grow sick. So if a person is not where they want to be and they're not walking in their purpose, guess what? They're already in a state where their heart is sick. You have to begin to help them identify their purpose and focus on that. Because if I understand your purpose is great, I can't treat you like everyone else in the world treats you. If I would understand that you were supposed to go out and touch millions of lives, I can't treat you like a beggar on the street. It's all about focusing in on other people. It's never been about you. To be a person of influence, you have to pour into other people. I'll say that 1,000,000 times because it's the part that is going to make you the most influential. We were called to be servants. Let me help you out real quick. It says, the more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. It never talks about taking and getting more. The more you begin to serve people outside of yourself, the more influential you will become. When people see you as an asset instead of a liability. When people see you as being positive instead of negative. When people see you as a person of your word, you will begin to attract the right people. And I don't care what anybody says, becoming a person of influencer. Influencers get stuff done. Influencers are only call away from getting something done because people understand that it's not about you and whatever you're trying to do is to help others. The last one. Focus on the process. Focus on the process. See, most people fail in life because guess what? They want to negate the process. They don't want to go through the pain. They don't want to go through the frustration. They don't want to focus on the positive. They want to stay in a negative mentality. They don't want to identify that another person has a purpose, and sometimes it's going to take a little bit of work to pull that out of them. They want to go around the process. No, you need to begin to focus on the process. Becoming an influencer. Once again, becoming an influencer of taking time out to walk people through sometime the process. Because just because you have it don't mean they have it yet. And I guarantee you, you still remember the people in your life that walks you through something, that helps you through something. You still remember that teacher that gave you just a little bit more attention when you didn't get it, when you didn't understand the work. You still remember that friend that went the extra mile to help you out when you had to pay that light bill. You still remember that person that smiled at you even when you were wrong and told you it was going to be all right. That was all a part of a process of making you who you are today. You have to focus on the process and be patient because everybody around you is not going to get it at the same time. I once read a story about this man, and all day long he had been cussing out his son, fussing at his son, arguing with his son. His son was only like 10 years old, and everything that he did was completely and utterly wrong. And then later on that night, he was sitting in the study, and his son came up to him and said, "Dad," and he said, "What?" And his son came in there and hugged him and said, "I love you," and gave him a kiss and walked out, and the man nearly cried. And the first thing he said was, "I'm trying to make you be where I am today. And you're just a child. And you still love me." We want people to be where we are today, and they just hadn't gotten there yet. We want people to be patient with us, but we don't want to be patient with other people. Becoming a person of influence has nothing, and I'll say it over and over and over again because I need to drive it home in someone's spirit who's sitting on this phone call right now when it's all about them. Becoming a person of influence has nothing to do about you. It has to do with other people. And I guarantee you, if you begin to give more than you take, that influence will come your way. The pastor on Sunday showed me something that completely messed my mind up. And it was the first time I've ever heard it in this context. And it's coming straight from Scripture, so if you're mad, be mad. It says, "Giving you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and pouring into your lap." Everybody sees that as a scripture dealing with finance, but it's talking about relationships. If you press down, if you give more, you will receive more in your relationships. Your gift will return in you full. Listen to the next scripture. The amount you give in your relationship will determine the amount you give back. If you want to become a person of influence, you have to constantly be giving back and focus on other people instead of focusing on yourself. Because the person of influence gets things done. The person of influence sees opportunities. The person of influence has relationships that's going to pay them for years on end. Becoming a person of influence is a lifestyle. It's not something you do right now to make a quick dollar. It's not something you do right now to pacify someone, to make them like you so you can get something out of them. The Bible says a man's name is worth his weight in gold. If you're constantly taking from everyone, your name is trash. It's cold. It's the exact same thing you're going to get on Christmas inside of your stocking. It means nothing to no one. If you begin to focus on the positive in other people, if you begin to focus on their potential, if you begin to focus on their purpose, and if you begin to really be patient and focus on the process, you will become a person of influence, not just in your household, but in your business and in your community. And you will attract the right people to you. And if you can't not release the hurt that's been going on in your life in the past, it will stop you from being the person that you were called to be, an influencer. a leader, the greatest servant. Please begin to apply these principles in every relationship that's around you right now. And I guarantee you'll find more joy. You'll find more happiness. You'll find more respect. You'll find more influence. And ultimately, you'll find more money. In fact, you won't even have to find it. It'll begin to come to you. I love you guys. Have a fantastic day. You're great because God said so.